After my parents paid off my brother's $50,000 gambling debts with my college fund, they laughed and said, "You don't need a degree anyway." I took a job offered by the most unlikely ally, and then the tables turned. The acceptance letter trembled in my hands as tears blurred the words full academic scholarship. I'd done it. 4 years of straight A's, countless all-nighters, and sacrificing my social life had finally paid off. Stanford University wanted me. Me, Willow from small-town Pennsylvania, the girl everyone said would never amount to anything special. "Mom? Dad?" I raced downstairs, nearly tripping over my own feet. I got in. I actually got in. The kitchen fell silent. Mom and Dad exchanged that look, the one that made my stomach drop. Travis, my older brother, sat at the table, head buried in his hands. "Honey, sit down," Mom said, her voice unnaturally gentle. "We need to talk." I clutched the letter tighter. "What's wrong?" Dad couldn't meet my eyes. "Your college fund, it's gone." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What do you mean gone?" "Travis needed help," Mom explained, placing her hand on my brother's shoulder. "He got into some trouble with some dangerous people. We had to use the money to pay off his gambling debts," I finished, my voice hollow. Again, Travis finally looked up, his eyes red. "I'm sorry, Will. I'll pay you back, I swear." "You said that last time," I whispered. "And the time before that." "This is different," Mom insisted. "Your brother could have been seriously hurt. We had no choice." I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. "No choice? What about my choices? My future?" "Don't be dramatic," Dad said, finding his voice. "Community college is still an option. Or you could work for a few years, save up, save up." I threw the acceptance letter onto the table. "Do you have any idea how much Stanford costs?" "The scholarship only covers part of it. That fund was everything I had, Willow." Mom's tone turned stern. "Family comes first. Travis needed us, and I don't?" My voice cracked. "I've never asked for anything. I worked my ass off while you threw money at Travis's mistakes over and over." "Watch your tone, young lady," Dad warned. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A welcome interruption. Unknown number. "Hello," I answered, turning away from my family. "Is this Willow Norton? This is Margaret from Mills and Associates law firm. We received your application for the receptionist position." I'd applied weeks ago, desperate for summer work. Now it felt like a lifeline. "Yes, this is she. Could you come in for an interview tomorrow at 9 a.m.? "Absolutely," I said, my mind racing. "I'll be there." I hung up and faced my family again. Travis had disappeared, probably to hide in his room like he always did when things got tough. Mom was already making excuses for him, Dad nodding along. "I have a job interview tomorrow," I announced. "That's nice, dear," Mom said dismissively. "Now about Travis." "No." I cut her off. "I'm done talking about Travis. I'm done with all of this." I stormed upstairs to my room, pulling out my suitcase. Through my tears, I began packing, my movements mechanical. A soft knock at my door made me freeze. "Go away." The door opened anyway. Sylvia, my best friend from next door, stood there. She must have heard everything through her bedroom window again. "I brought ice cream," she said, holding up a pint and 2 spoons. "Want to talk about it?" I sank onto my bed. "They took everything. Syl. Everything I worked for." She sat beside me, handed me a spoon. "So what are you going to do about it?" "I got a job interview at Mills and Associates." "The law firm?" Sylvia's eyes widened. "That's huge." "It's just a receptionist position." "It's a foot in the door," she corrected. "And you're the smartest person I know. You'll work your way up." I stabbed my spoon into the ice cream. "They don't think I can do anything. Did you hear them? Community college is still an option." I mimicked Dad's condescending tone. "Then prove them wrong," Sylvia said simply. "Show them exactly what you can do." I looked at her, really looked at her, and something shifted inside me. The tears dried up. The helplessness transformed into determination. "You're right," I said slowly. "I'm done being the good daughter they can ignore. Done watching Travis destroy everything while they clean up his messes. What are you going to do?" I smiled, and it wasn't entirely nice. "I'm going to become someone they can't ignore. Someone with real power." I glanced at my Stanford letter now crumpled on the floor. "They think law school is out of reach? Fine. I'll learn law from the ground up instead." Sylvia grinned. "Now that sounds like a plan." I took another bite of ice cream, my mind already racing ahead. Tomorrow, I'd walk into that law firm and start my new life. And someday, when my family needed help again, because they always did, they'd find out exactly who I'd become. Reception. "This is Willow speaking. How may I direct your call?" I balanced the phone between my ear and shoulder while sorting through a stack of documents. 3 months into my job at Mills and Associates, and I'd already memorized every partner's schedule, client preference, and filing system. "Hey, new girl," a friendly voice called out. I looked up to see Tobias, Mr. Mills' son, leaning against my desk. He pointed at my coffee cup. "That's stone cold. Want a fresh one?" "Thanks, but I can't leave the desk right now. Mr. Mills needs these briefs sorted before the Thompson meeting." "I know." He grinned. "I'll watch the phones for 5 minutes. Go get yourself some caffeine." I hesitated, then grabbed my cup. The break room was mercifully empty, but as I reached for the coffee pot, I heard voices from the partners' lounge next door. "That new receptionist," Mr. Mills was saying. "She's something else." "The young one? Willow?" Another voice. "Mr. Parker," I thought. "What about her? She reorganized our entire filing system last week, found 3 missing depositions that could have cost us the Riverside case, and she's been studying the briefs in her spare time." "A receptionist who actually reads the briefs?" Mr. Parker chuckled. "That's a first. She's wasted at that desk, Jacob. I'm thinking of moving her to paralegal." My hand froze on the coffee pot. "Paralegal? After just 3 months? Eavesdropping?" A woman's voice made me jump. I spun around to face a tall, elegant black woman in a crisp suit. "I'm Sylvia, new associate attorney." "And you're Willow, right? The super receptionist everyone's talking about?" I stammered. She laughed. "Relax. I do my best intel gathering by the coffee machine too." She filled her own cup. "Word is you're gunning for more than just answering phones." "I want to learn everything I can," I admitted. "Law school isn't an option right now, but there's more than one way to climb a mountain." She nodded approvingly. "Smart girl. Want some free advice?" "Always. Take a paralegal certification course online nights. When they offer you the position, and they will, you'll be ready." I smiled. "I started the course 2 weeks ago. Even smarter than I thought." She handed me a business card. "I like you, Willow. Let's do lunch sometime." Back at my desk, Tobias was struggling with the phones. 3 lines at once, he complained. "How do you do this?" "Practice," I said, smoothly taking over. "And a really good memory." "Speaking of memory," he lowered his voice. "Your brother called while you were gone, said it was urgent." My smile vanished. "Did he leave a message?" "Just asked you to call home." "Thanks. I wouldn't be calling back." Later that evening, as I was preparing to leave, my cell phone rang. Mom's number. I let it go to voicemail, but she called right back. "What?" I answered sharply. "Don't take that tone with me," she snapped. "We haven't heard from you in weeks." "Travis needs I'm at work, Mom. I can't talk." "Work? That receptionist job?" "Honey, you need to think about your future. Your father knows someone at the bank who could I have to go." I hung up, hands shaking. "Family trouble?" I jumped. Mr. Mills stood behind me, coat in hand. "I'm sorry, sir. I don't usually take personal calls at work." "Willow," he said kindly, "I've been watching you. You're first in, last out. You study every document that crosses your desk. You've learned our filing system better than people who've been here for years." I straightened my shoulders. "I want to learn everything I can, sir." "Why?" "Because knowledge is power," I said without thinking, then blushed. No. You're exactly right." He smiled. "How would you like to move up to paralegal? We'll adjust your schedule so you can finish your certification." My heart raced. "I'd love that opportunity, sir." "Good. And Willow?" He paused at the door. "Whatever's going on with your family, don't let it distract you. I see real potential in you." After he left, I sat at my desk, staring at my phone. 3 missed calls from Mom, 2 from Travis. Let them call. Let them need me. I opened my laptop and pulled up my paralegal coursework. Every hour studying was another step away from being that helpless girl whose dreams they'd stolen, another step toward becoming someone with real power. "Knowledge is power," I whispered to myself and began to read. 4 years flew by like pages in a windstorm. I stood in front of my office mirror adjusting my new designer blazer, a gift to myself for making junior partner at 31. The brass nameplate on my desk still gave me a thrill. Willow Norton Partner. A knock at my door interrupted my moment of pride. "Come in." Sylvia breezed in, now head of corporate law. "Ready for the Henderson meeting? It's going to be brutal." "When isn't it?" I grabbed my tablet. "Did you see their latest counteroffer?" Insulting is what it was. She paused, studying my face. "You okay? You look tired." "Travis called last night. First time in 2 years." She sat on the edge of my desk. "What did baby brother want?" Didn't answer, but he left 6 voicemails, each more desperate than the last. "Show me your game face," Sylvia demanded. I straightened my spine, lifted my chin, and let my expression cool into what Tobias called my shock smile. "Better? Perfect. Now let's go eat some CEOs for breakfast." The Henderson meeting was exactly as brutal as predicted, but I'd learned from the best. 4 hours later, I had them exactly where I wanted them. "So we're agreed," I said, sliding the contract across the table. 20 million plus restructuring terms. This is highway robbery, Henderson growled. No, I smiled my shark smile. This is business. Sign, or we'll see you in court. They signed. Back in my office, I finally checked my voicemails. Travis's voice increasingly panicked. Will, please, I really need to talk to you. It's bad this time. Really bad. They're going to take the house, Will. Mom and Dad's house. Please call me back. I don't know what to do. They're giving us 30 days. Willow, please. I'm begging you. I was still staring at my phone when Tobias walked in. Earth to Willow. Dad's looking for you. Sorry. I gestured at the phone. Family stuff? He perched on my desk. Our old familiar positions reversed now that I had the corner office. Want to talk about it? Not much to say. They made their choices. I made mine. Yeah. But they're still family. I shot him a look. Easy to say when your family supported your dreams instead of stealing them. Fair point. He stood. Anyway, Dad wants to see you about the Martinez case. And Will? He paused at the door. Whatever you decide, I've got your back. Mr. Mills was waiting in his office, looking exactly as he had the day he hired me, just a little gray at the temples. Sit down, Willow. Tell me about Henderson. Signed and delivered. 20 million plus all our terms. Excellent. He leaned back. You've come a long way from that receptionist desk. Thanks to you, sir. No. He shook his head. Thanks to you. Your drive, your determination. I just opened the door. You walked through it. My phone buzzed again. Travis, problem? Mr. Mills asked. No, sir. Just family. When I nodded, he continued. You know, I've never asked about them. Seemed like a sore subject. They made some choices I couldn't forgive. He studied me. And now they need your help? I looked up, startled. How did you 30 years in law, Willow? I know that look. He paused. Want some advice? Always, sir. Sometimes the best revenge isn't punishment. It's success. He smiled. You've proven yourself. Maybe it's time to show them exactly who you've become. Back in my office, I pulled up the county records database. Sure enough, there it was. A foreclosure notice on my parents' house. They were underwater on the mortgage, months behind on payments. My phone rang again. Mom this time. Willow? Her voice was smaller than I remembered. Please don't hang up. What do you want, Mom? We need help. The bank they're going to take the house. Travis tried everything, but what? His gambling buddies won't loan him more money. That's not fair, she protested weakly. No. I laughed. What's not fair is stealing your daughter's future to enable your son's addiction. What's not fair is I stopped, took a breath. You know what? Never mind. I'll help. You will? The relief in her voice was painful. Yes, but we'll do this my way. All of you come to my office tomorrow at 2 p.m. Your office? Mills & Associates, 23rd floor. Don't be late. I hung up and stared out my window at the city below. Mr. Mills was right. I'd proven myself. Now it was time to show my family exactly who they'd underestimated. Let them come to my territory. Let them see my name on the door, my view from the top. Let them finally see me. At 1:55 p.m., my assistant buzzed. Your family is here. Give me 2 minutes, then send them in. I stood behind my desk, smoothing my skirt. The wall of legal degrees and awards behind me felt like armor. The door opened. Mom entered first, looking smaller than I remembered, followed by Dad, who'd gone completely gray. Travis shuffled in last, unable to meet my eyes. Have a seat. I gestured to the chairs facing my desk. Willow. Mom started. This is quite an office. Partner perks. I sat down. So tell me about the foreclosure. They exchanged glances. Travis cleared his throat. It's my fault. I borrowed against the house to cover some debts. Promised I'd pay it back, but you gambled that money away too? I finished, my voice ice cold. It wasn't like that. Mom jumped in. He was trying to invest in what, Mom? Poker? Horses? Or has he graduated to sports betting? Now listen here. Dad finally spoke up. We didn't come for a lecture. No. You came for money. I opened a folder on my desk. The house is worth $320,000. You owe 425,000 tons, thanks to multiple home equity loans. You're 4 months behind on payments, and the bank has initiated foreclosure proceedings. How did you? Travis started. I'm a lawyer, Travis. Finding information is what I do. I leaned forward. Here's what I don't understand. Where did all that equity go? The house was paid off when I left for college. Silence. That's what I thought. I stood up, walking to my window. You know what's interesting? I pulled Travis's credit report. 7 maxed out credit cards, 3 personal loans, and somehow, he still has a gambling account with weekly deposits. You had no right. Travis jumped up. Sit down. My voice cracked like a whip. He sat. I have every right. You're asking me for help? This is how I help. by finding the truth. Please, Mom whispered. We'll lose everything. Like I lost everything? I turned to face them. Like when you stole my college fund. That was different, Dad protested weakly. You're right, it was different. Because I didn't gamble it away. I didn't throw it down a hole of addiction and lies. I returned to my desk. But here's what I'm offering. I pulled out a contract. I'll buy the house, pay off the mortgage, clear the debt, but there are conditions. What conditions? Travis asked suspiciously. First, Travis gets help. Real help. I've already arranged a spot at a rehabilitation facility. 6 months minimum. 6 months, he exploded. I can't. You can and you will. Second, I continued over his protests. Mom and Dad can stay in the house, but the deed will be in my name. And third, every penny Travis earns after rehab goes toward paying me back. That's blackmail, Mom stammered. No, that's consequences. Something this family never learned about. The door opened, and Sylvia walked in right on cue. Sorry to interrupt. Are these the contracts for the house purchase? Perfect timing, I smiled. Mom, Dad, this is Sylvia Reynolds, head of corporate law. She'll be handling the paperwork. You planned all this? Travis accused. Of course, I did. That's what successful people do, Travis. They plan. They don't gamble their family's future away. Dad stood up suddenly. We need time to think about this. You have 24 hours, I said. After that, the offer expires, and good luck finding another solution in time to stop the foreclosure. Come on. Mom tugged at Travis's arm. Let's go. At the door, Travis paused. You're enjoying this, aren't you making us beg? No, Travis. I'm not enjoying this at all. I met his eyes. But someone has to stop this cycle. It might as well be me. After they left, Sylvia perched on my desk. Well, that was intense. Did I go too far? Are you kidding? That was masterful. Ice cold, but masterful. She studied my face. You okay? Ask me tomorrow. I picked up the contract. Think they'll sign? They don't have a choice. You're their only option, and they know it. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. We'll sign, but I hope you're happy with what you've become. I showed Sylvia the message. She snorted. What you've become? You mean successful, independent, powerful? Exactly. I smiled, but it felt brittle. Everything they never wanted me to be. I turned back to my window watching the city lights flicker on as dusk approached. Tomorrow, they'd sign. Tomorrow, the tables would finally turn. But Mom's words echoed in my head. I hope you're happy with what you've become. The truth was I wasn't sure how I felt about it either, but it was too late to turn back now. The conference room felt colder than usual as my family filed in the next morning. Mom's eyes were red-rimmed. Dad looked like he hadn't slept. And Travis just looked defeated. Sylvia laid out the contracts while I stood at the head of the table. Everything's in order, she said. Just need signatures. Before we sign, Travis spoke up, his voice hoarse. I want to know something. Why are you really doing this, Will? I told you. Someone has to know. He stood up, hands flat on the table. The truth. Is this revenge for the college fund? Sit down, Travis, Mom hissed. No, let him speak, I said. You want the truth? Fine. This isn't about revenge. This is about consequences, about finally facing reality instead of enabling more destruction. That's rich, he laughed bitterly. You standing there in your fancy suit, in your fancy office judging us. I earned this, I snapped. Every bit of it. While you were gambling away their retirement, I was working 80-hour weeks. While you were taking out loans you couldn't repay, I was studying law at night. Everything I have, I built myself. Because you're so perfect. Because I had no choice. My voice cracked. You took my choices away. Remember? All of you. You took my dream and threw it away like it meant nothing. Willow, Dad started. No, let me finish. I took a breath. You know what the worst part was? Not losing Stanford, not losing the money. It was realizing that to my own family, I would always matter less than Travis's next crisis. Silence filled the room like smoke. Sign the papers, I said quietly. Take the help I'm offering, or don't, but this is your last chance. Mom picked up the pen first. Her hand trembled as she signed. This isn't right, Travis muttered. What isn't right, Sylvia spoke up, is destroying your family's financial security for a gambling addiction. What isn't right is making your sister clean up your mess after stealing her future. Stay out of this, he snarled. Travis, Dad's voice was tired. Just sign the damn papers. One by one, they signed. When it was done, Sylvia gathered the contracts. The rehab center is expecting you tomorrow morning, I told Travis. A car will pick you up at 8 a.m. And if I don't go, then Mom and Dad lose the house anyway. Your choice. He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. Mom started to follow then turned back. Was it really so terrible, she asked. Growing up with us? No, Mom. Growing up was fine. It was being sacrificed for Travis that was terrible. We never meant to hurt me, to destroy my dreams, to make me feel worthless. I shook my head. But you did, and now here we are. Dad stood up slowly. You've made your point, Willow. You won. Are you happy now? This isn't about winning, Dad. This is about fixing what's broken, all of it. After they left, Sylvia touched my arm. You did the right thing. Then why does it feel so awful? Because you care. She squeezed my shoulder. That's what makes you different from them. You care enough to do the hard thing. My phone buzzed. A text from Tobias. Drinks tonight? You look like you need one. Go, Sylvia urged. I'll handle the paperwork. The bar was quiet for a Thursday. Tobias was already at our usual corner table. That bad? He asked as I slumped into a chair. Worse. I told him everything. You know what's crazy? He said when I finished. You're actually helping them. Really helping them. Not just enabling more problems. Try telling them that. They'll figure it out eventually. He signaled for more drinks. Remember what Dad always says about tough cases. Sometimes the right decision feels wrong until it proves itself right. Exactly. He raised his glass. To doing the right thing even when it hurts. I clinked my glass against his, but before I could drink, my phone buzzed again. Travis. What? I answered. I'll go, he said quietly. To rehab. I'll go. Something tightened my chest, loosened slightly. Good. But not for you. He added quickly. For Mom and Dad. And for me, I guess. That's even better. A pause. I really messed up, didn't I? Everything. Everyone. Yes, I said softly. But maybe now you can start fixing it. After we hung up, Tobias raised an eyebrow. Progress. Maybe. I stared into my drink. Or maybe just another promise he won't keep. Only one way to find out. Yeah. I took a sip. Time will tell. And for the first time since this all began, I felt something close to hope. 3 months after Travis entered rehab, Mom called during my lunch break. He's doing well, she said, her voice cautiously optimistic.